27. Brett Kulak, Aaron's boy.
Mm-hmm. Let Aaron grade him.
Aaron?
A.
Chance of returning, 100%. Let's talk about Brett Kulak a little bit. A guy who I actually thought was fighting it a bit at times during the regular season. I didn't think he had the best regular season. Started to get better as the year went on, but there were some tough moments in there for Brett Kulak. And again, this is a guy, and you need to do this for almost every D-man, as we kind of have. There's a post-Ekholm and a pre-Ekholm grade, it almost feels like.
Yeah.
Kulak, I thought, fought it early in the year. I thought as things went on, and Ekholm showed up, he got a lot better. The grade I gave him for the regular season, Liam, was a B-. I think for a good chunk of the year, he was in that C range. When Ekholm came, he was in a B+ range, so I balanced it out. His playoff grade was an A- for me, though.
He was really good.
He moved so well. And I don't know if it's a thing where like he knows that he can't do that for 82 straight games, so he keeps his foot off the gas at times, does his own little load management. I don't know. But he got so much more effective in the playoffs. He gives their blue line a bit of nastiness, which I like. That left side with him, Ekholm, and Nurse. They're not afraid to mix it up. They're going to protect their goalie. They're going to protect their teammates. I like having that in a D-man. I love the way he moves. He's not a great puck mover per se, but he's a good puck transporter, and I like that. I gave him an A- for the playoffs. Scored that one huge goal against the LA Kings as well, or against the Vegas Golden Knights. I have his chance of returning at 80%, though. Sorry, it was against Kings, yeah. I have his chance of returning at 80%. I think the cap casualty is likely Cody Ceci on the blue line. I think you will have a hard time replacing what Brett Kulak can bring you come playoff time for under $3 million. It's a sweetheart deal for a hometown guy. Stoney play in Alberta. But I'm still a little bit worried that they're going to go, we have Broberg. We can sacrifice this 2.75 and slide Broberg into that slot. You'll deplete your depth to an extent. I would not advise them doing that, but I could see it happening. So I have his chance of returning at 80%.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. 80, 85, somewhere around there. I mean, if a deal comes on the table and it's hard to pass up, that I don't think they're going to think too much about not moving on from Brett Kulak. Obviously, we all like him and want him to stay, but you're right. Like at the start of the season, do you remember when he just kept blowing his wheels right in front of the other's bench? There was like 2 or 3 goals early in the year. He was absolutely lost it. It's like, what is going on?
It was against Calgary too.
Yeah, that's right. And I think there was another one shortly after. It's just
but then there was but all those happened when at special teams, because there was a run, I think, early in the year, we were keeping track of this. He like wasn't on the ice for a 5-on-5 goal for like 10 games.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then he fell off a little bit, and then you're right. Ekholm came in, stabilized everything a little bit more. But in the playoffs, like, Kulak was a gamer. I might even give him an A, to be honest, for the playoffs. You could argue he was like their best defenseman at some points in the series, which is never really a great thing for your third pair left shot to be. But like, you look at the guy he was playing with as well. Vinny Desharnais was battling it hard at some games, and Kulak still showed up. So I think those are fair rankings, B, B-, and then I would give him a solid A for the playoffs.
Adarath is in and says he gives him a B in the regular season and A in the playoffs. Our pal Sergeant Battle says B- and then an A. So everyone's kind of in line here. Good, and you give him C+ in the regular season, B+ playoffs, chance to return 100%. I disagree with that a little bit. I think he was better in the playoffs. Like there weren't a lot of goals where you're like, oh, that was Brett Kulak's fault.
Yeah.
He was good on the PK. Regular season, you know, maybe you're valuing the front half of the year, that tough middle stretch, I should say, a little bit too much. Tyler Mulick said, A, love the way he skates. That's my favorite thing about him. I remember when they acquired him, it was kind of like, oh, Brett Kulak, you know, he's got the beard. He was on that long playoff run with him. You're thinking it's like a rugged, shutdown D-man. Then you watch him skate, and you're like, damn, he is very athletic.
He's got a lot of game to him, and he got the assist on McDavid's goal in Game 6, the one right after they kind of came in, because he transitioned through the neutral zone, dished it off. Like, he's just a smart hockey player. He never really overcomplicate things, and I think the others need that.
You need guys like that. Yeah. When your forward group loves to skill it up and be fancy, you need D-men who just play simple hockey. I want Brett Kulak back. If I was the GM, his chance to return would be 100.
At 5-on-5 in the playoffs, Brett Kulak was on the ice for 4 goals against.
And how does that compare to some other D-men?
His partner, Desharnais, was 7, Ekholm was 9, Ceci and Bouchard were 10, Nurse was 11.
Yeah.
Was
so
1.
The minutes, of course, are obviously what you need to keep in mind there, right? Or did he play a lot?
5th most minutes, 172. 12 lessons, Cody Ceci.
20 some less, basically a game less worth of ice time than Darnell Nurse. But you're right. Impressive stuff in the playoffs. He was very, very good. So there you go. There's your Brett Kulak player grade for this season, brought to you by Star.